Always from the heart of the city, and now on demand 24/7 on the CHFI website. This is the soundtrack to accompany The Flame. And I'm Don Jackson, around the world on the internet. To realize the value of 1 year, ask a student who has failed a final exam. To realize the value of 1 month, ask a mother who has given birth to a premature baby. To realize the value of 1 week, ask an editor of a weekly newspaper. To realize the value of 1 hour, ask the lovers who are waiting to meet. To realize the value of 1 minute, ask a person who has missed the train. To realize the value of 1 second, ask a person who has survived an accident. To realize the value of 1 millisecond, ask the person who has won a silver medal in the Olympics. That unknown author lights the way to a truth that will be learned at this year's Winter Olympics on Canadian soil. This hour, the path that leads to gold, or something even more long-lasting. With Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. Nikki, Yanofsky, and I Believe. Enya, Only Time, and Coldplay with Clocks. And I'm Don Jackson with Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. I want you to imagine that we're standing in the middle of the Olympic Stadium where the opening ceremonies are set to play out. Athletes from countries the world over are walking the same path in the hopes that it will bring them glory. But it's not just athletic prowess and the desire to win that has brought some of these athletes together. It's something much deeper that maybe only a handful of them share in common. This was by an unknown author. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you want to win, but think you can't, it's almost a cinch you won't. If you think you'll lose, you're lost. For out of the world we find success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in a state of mind. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger and faster man. But sooner or later, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. I'm Don Jackson from iTunes and CHFI.com.
And always will be.
Dido's White Flag and Natasha Bedingfield, Unwritten. And I'm Don Jackson with Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. Gary Franks, in Searching for the Promised Land, an African-American's optimistic odyssey, published by HarperCollins, wrote, and I quote, "Nothing worthwhile or long-lasting can be achieved without hard work." Former basketball great Bill Bradley once said his father would tell him, "Son, when you're not out practicing, someone else is. And when you meet that person, he's going to beat you." Unquote. The athletes at this year's Winter Olympics are no doubt well aware of that fact. I'm Don Jackson from iTunes and CHFI.com. Josh Groban, You Are Loved. Don't Give Up. Whitney Houston with The Greatest Love of All, and Miley Cyrus and The Climb. And I'm Don Jackson with Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. This is called On Letting Go. Its author unknown. There's nothing to fear. You're as good as the best, as strong as the mightiest, too. You can win every battle or test. For there's only one just like you. There's only one you in the world today. So nobody else you see can do your work in as fine a way. You're the only one, the only you there'll be. So face the world, and all life is yours to conquer and love and live. And you'll find the happiness that endures in just the measure you give. There's nothing too good for you to possess, nor heights where you cannot go. Your power is more than belief or guess. It is something you have to know. There is nothing to fear. You can and you will, for you are the invincible you. Set your foot on the highest hill. There's nothing you cannot do. Again, author unknown. The games are not only for competition. Sometimes lifelong journeys begin there. I'm Don Jackson from iTunes and CHFI.com. John Mayer with No Such Thing, and Mariah Carey and Hero. And I'm Don Jackson with Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. Frank Norris, in Complete Works, published by Doubleday, wrote, and I quote, "Once I had occasion to buy a silver soup ladle. The obliging salesman brought forth quite an array, including ultimately one that was as plain and unadorned as the unclouded sky, and about as beautiful. But the price, it was nearly double any of the others. You see, the salesman explained, in this highly ornamental ware, the flaws don't show. This plain one has to be the very best. Any defect would be apparent. There, if you please, is the final basis of comparison of all things. The bare dignity of the unadorned that may stand before the world all unashamed in the consciousness of perfection." Frank Norris, in Complete Works, published by Doubleday. I'm Don Jackson from iTunes and CHFI.com. Amanda Marshall and Believe in You, and Bryan Adams on A Day Like Today. And I'm Don Jackson with Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. At the last opening ceremonies of the Winter Olympics, the historical was well represented, as well as a prayer for peace in a troubled world. For a brief period of time, the world comes together in athletic competition and hopefully puts aside any differences. I always look forward to the lighting of the Olympic flame and to see it reflected in the eyes of the athletes. It reminds me of this quote from the 1979 edition of the Friendship Book of Francis Gay, published by D.C. Thompson and Company. And I quote, "When the lamp is lit and darkness at a touch is put to flight, spare a thought for all the folk who never know the light, and make a vow you'll try to shed some brightness on the path they tread." Unquote. I'm Don Jackson from iTunes and CHFI.com. I hope you will tell all your friends about Lovers and Other Strangers. Good night, sweet dreams. I'm Don Jackson.